Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
We're going to start out with something fun today. John Boyega spoke with Popverse at Florida's SuperCon, and he said, "If I was a producer on Star Wars from the beginning, by beginning he means the beginning of the sequel era, it would have been a whole completely different thing." Now, this is responding, of course, to audience questions. He went on to say, "It would be mad. First of all, we're not getting rid of Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, all these people. We're not doing that. The first thing we're going to do is fulfill their story, fulfill their legacy. We're going to make a good moment of handing the baton."
What a
Wow.
concept.
He gets it. He gets the basics.
The funny thing is, he's
I'm
one
proud
of
of
those
him.
new characters, and he understands the importance of letting the old characters shine first and bright.
Right.
Especially in the first
And
movie. That's what I've always said. The
as
first
you
movie
put
should
it,
have been
yeah.
the movie for the old characters, all of them.
And as you put it, they needed a good moment of handing the baton. They needed to incorporate the new characters into the legacy character's story so that you could see a natural progression of importance shifting from one group to the next.
Yeah, we never had a moment like that in the sequels. We had Han being killed by Kylo, which I think that's the big problem with his idea already is Harrison Ford only wanted to do one movie, but he came back for the third one anyway, so I'm sure if you throw enough money at him, Harrison Ford would have signed up for all three movies, and we
I
could have
think so.
could have had Han survive survive all the way through.
Why not?
Maybe that was the best way to do it. Just have them all survive. Why did we have to kill any of them? Actually,
Not necessary. Not
Yeah.
at all. They could have, so to speak, they could have retired, handing off their roles to the
Yeah.
next generation.
what a concept!
Just funny
let,
'cause
let
the-
heroes retire.
The only baton handing that it looked at all was when Rey handed Luke back his saber. Like, I guess you can be on screen for a while, Luke.
Yeah, and then he tossed it away and it's
Says,
like,
no, I don't want to.
No, I want to be a grumpy old
I'm
man.
going to be a grumpy old man. Oh, boy.
Let the Jedi end.
He also said, our new characters will not be OP'd, as in overpowered, in these movies. They won't just grab stuff and know what to do with it. No, you've got to struggle like every other character in this franchise. I do that.
I wonder whoever he could be talking about.
What?
Who grabbed a weapon they'd never used before and did really well with it in those movies? I mean, Finn did okay against Kylo with a lightsaber at the end of The Force Awakens, but he was
He's a
clearly
stormtrooper.
outmatched. Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
also been trained. I'm sure he's been trained in some melee weapons as well.
Why not? Some of them had those, like, shock batons, too.
Yeah, and one of the defenses of Rey being able to use a lightsaber as well, she's been using that staff. I guess we're to assume she fought off bandits and other bad people in the deserts of Jakku, I
think
guess.
they
But
kind of hint at that in one of her books.
they do, but even still, like, I don't know that that means you're suddenly going to be able to pick up a different weapon and go toe-to-toe with somebody who's had formal training with both Luke Skywalker and Snoke, who we have to assume is a pretty decent lightsaber teacher as well.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
know. Anyway,
Yeah, he did go on to talk about kind of where the inspiration could come from for the movies that he didn't make.
yeah, maybe he should have. We should have just given it to him. I'm already liking his ideas.
He said, I'd look to the Old Republic stories and see what we can add to the continuation of that. I would definitely want to see Force Unleashed stories in there. I would try to expand the Star Wars universe as much as possible while respecting the lore. If we're expanding the lore, we have to do it within the respective boundaries that stays true. But Luke Skywalker wouldn't be disappearing on a rock. Hell no. Standing there and he's like a projector? I want to give those characters way more.
A projector, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it seems so obvious. It seemed
It
like
does.
I think there was this assumption by pretty much every single Star Wars fan that you couldn't get this wrong because of course you would want to take these old characters and give them a big send-off, even if you're going to kill them. You were going to respect them because that's what it's all built on. It's all built on these old characters, these old stories, and I mean, even the Old Republic and Force Unleashed and the other things he's mentioning here, like, there are fans of those things. Why didn't
Absolutely.
you build off the things that you already had people loving instead of saying, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to try to do completely our own thing with it and say, screw all the old stuff, and you're going to love these new characters because we said so.
I think that he was definitely on the right track. I think he's listened to what the fan base has said as well. He's echoing back, he's resonating with everything we want to hear.
Well, that's the interesting part because there was a time, and people can change their mind and their opinions. It happens all the time, and it's fine. Just because he said something 5 years ago doesn't mean he can't feel something differently now. But he has been critical of the fans and the backlash and has said some things against them. But it seems like he's realized that, yeah, maybe these movies weren't that great. Maybe the fans were onto something, and maybe we should have done something a little different with these movies.
I like that I feel heard by John Boyega.
Yeah, he's saying what we've all been saying for years at this point.
He's not sitting in denial town saying, no, our movies were great. You guys are the problem.
Yeah, and I've said before, one of the things I was going to find very interesting as the years go by and as maybe non-disclosure agreements kind of fall away or become less enforced, if you will, what they're going to say about these movies they were in and what really happened behind the scenes. And I think we're getting a glimpse of how, because John Boyega is a big Star Wars fan. We saw how he reacted to his own trailer when he pulled out the lightsaber and thought he was going to eventually be a Jedi. So we're finding out, yeah, he was probably pretty disappointed too.
Yeah. Speaking of the sequels, in a way, Spaceballs 2 has entered production.
Oh boy.
And they shared their first cast photo, which even their cast photo is a spoof.
That's what they did for The Force Awakens.
They shared the round table reading, and they also did it in black and white with a white room and even square type furniture. It's very similar. So even their first photo here is a spoof of Star Wars.
They're going deep. That's a deep cut.
It is a deep cut. I'm very happy with it. But yes, MGM Amazon shared the first cast photo of the 2027 sequel to Spaceballs.
The funny part is I remember when that photo came out like 11 years ago now, maybe something like that. That seems impossible that it's been that long since that movie came out. Like 10 years. It'll be 10 years in this December.
I know the plot is still a closely guarded secret, but we know the Hollywood Reporter indicated that Lewis Pullman will be playing Starburst, the son of Lone Star, who's of course played by his real life father, Bill Pullman.
Yes.
And that Keke Palmer's character is supposed to be named Destiny. But that's all we know, and MGM Amazon did not confirm Starburst.
If there is not a candy joke in there at some point, I'm going to be very disappointed.
What's fun, too, though, is the film is set to release in 2027, which is also the 50th anniversary of A New Hope. Lucasfilm is putting out Star Wars Starfighter. We're going to get a New Hope release in the theater again.
Certainly, yeah.
And Spaceballs.
It's going to be it's going to be a fun year, hopefully, for Star Wars. Yeah.
And a little off topic, but within our wheelhouse, you could say, Marvel Animation made an announcement that they're planning to release new seasons of 2 of their hit shows every year. Now, this is according to the head of Marvel TV. The first one we'll talk about is The Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It is an alternate version of Peter Parker, where instead of being mentored by Tony Stark, he's actually mentored by Norman Osborn. But the more important one is X-Men 97 is going to be releasing every year is what they want. That's what they said. They are planning to release new seasons of it every year. As we remember, it was a fantastic show. We reviewed it. It was great. I would love to review more of it. It received critical praise. It got some awards. It's a continuation of a great show.
Oh, the show was amazing.
And I think it's even... I just loved it.
It was the best animated comic series I've ever seen. And I was not very young. I was like 13 or something when it started. So, and I was reading the X-Men comics and it was just like, oh, you're bringing the like, well, duh, that's of course what you did.
Of course.
It's so funny how back then I didn't even like think this was like a big deal. Like, well, yeah, you're bringing the comic book stories accurately or pretty accurately to television. And nowadays it's like they can't figure out how to do that anymore. I swear with that. Everything has to be reimagined and tweaked a little bit and changed.
Right. Well, 2026, that's the year that season 2 of X-Men 97 is expected.
Next year,
Season 3 is already in development.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, if that's what they have to do if they're going to be cranking these out every year. So their first season of it must have been, obviously, was really loved. It had critical praise. It had awards. So they're like, okay, let's let it loose.
It felt like a continuation of the old series, but maybe taking up another notch or two. Even though the old series tackled stories right out of the comics and some pretty hardcore stuff in some of those old cartoons back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, for now, that's going to be all we got for you this time. Your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about John Boyega's version of the sequel trilogy. Tell us what you think about Spaceballs releasing their first image. And tell us what you think about X-Men 97 coming out every year. Sounds awesome to me. Whatever the case may be, though, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.